As I walked away, I felt a mix of emotions: hurt, anger, and a growing determination. If Ahmed thought he could make decisions without me, then perhaps it was time I made a few decisions of my own. The rest of the reception passed in a haze. I smiled for photos, thanked guests for coming, and held Ahmed's hand when necessary. But inside, my mind was spinning like a carousel I couldn't get off. Every time I glanced at the woman in red, her name, I later learned, was Layla, I saw something smug in her smile, something unspoken. Aisha caught up with me again near the buffet table. "You okay?" she asked, clearly reading my expression. "No," I admitted, voice low. "That woman is his ex. He invited her. Didn't tell me." Aisha's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" I nodded, pressing my lips into a thin line. "He said it was last minute, that they're just friends." "Friends don't show up to weddings unannounced in bodycon dresses and blood-red lipstick," she muttered. "Exactly." I started noticing more strange things. Ahmed kept checking his phone, even during our cake cutting. Once, I caught Layla whispering something to him near the bar. When they noticed me watching, they quickly stepped apart. A sour taste rose in my throat. Later that night, after the guests began to leave and the event wound down, I went to our bridal suite alone. Ahmed was busy handling some last-minute coordination with the event staff. Or so he said. The room was decorated beautifully. Candles, petals, champagne on ice. But none of it felt right. It all felt like a play I'd been cast in without reading the script. I sat on the bed and stared at the bouquet of red roses on the nightstand. So perfect. So staged. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. He's not who you think he is. I stared at the screen. My pulse spiked. I responded cautiously. "Who is this?" "Unknown. Check his deleted messages. He invited me personally. Said he missed me." My hands trembled. I didn't want to believe it. But something inside me whispered, "You already knew." Ahmed walked in minutes later, all smiles. "You disappeared, love." I forced a smile. Just needed a breather. Long day. He came over and tried to kiss my cheek, but I turned away slightly. He seemed to notice, but didn't press. We sat in silence for a few minutes before I spoke. "Can I see your phone?" He blinked. "Why?" "I just want to check something." A pause. Then, "I don't think that's necessary." "What's going on?" "Just give me your phone, Ahmed." He hesitated, then pulled it from his pocket and handed it over, but his body was stiff, defensive. I opened the messaging app. Nothing too suspicious. But then I remembered what the text said. Deleted messages. I opened recently deleted conversations, and there it was. A chat thread with Layla. My stomach dropped. "Ahmed, it'll be good to see you again. Don't worry, she won't even notice you." "Ahmed, I still think about that night sometimes." "Layla, you're really going through with this wedding?"
"Ahmed, yeah."
"But tonight, maybe we can talk after?" I couldn't read anymore. I felt like I had been sucker punched. Ahmed tried to grab the phone. "You weren't supposed to see that," he muttered. I looked up at him, eyes burning. "No, I wasn't supposed to need to." He sat down, holding his head. "It's not what it looks like." I let out a hollow laugh. "Then explain it to me, Ahmed." "Because it looks like you invited your ex to our wedding, flirted with her, and planned to see her after our vows." He stood up, pacing. "It was just a conversation. I didn't mean any of it. I panicked, okay? She messaged me before the wedding and brought up old stuff. I didn't want to start anything. I thought it would be easier if I just responded." "That's a lie," I snapped. "You initiated the conversation." He fell silent. The room was quiet except for the hum of the air conditioner. My dress suddenly felt suffocating. I walked into the bathroom, locking the door behind me. My hands gripped the sink as I stared into the mirror. "This is your wedding night," I told myself. "And you're here, discovering betrayal before the honeymoon even starts." I thought about all the months I'd spent planning this wedding, every detail meticulously chosen. The countless compromises. The faith I had put in Ahmed. And here I was, devastated, humiliated, and questioning every moment of our relationship. Then something inside me shifted. A cold clarity. If this was how he wanted to play games, then I'd play too. But I wouldn't let him see me cry. Not yet. I emerged from the bathroom calm, collected. We'll talk about this later, I said. He looked confused. Wait, what do you mean? Later. I walked to the closet and began pulling out my overnight bag. I'm going to Aisha's for the night, but it's our wedding night.
Exactly.
And now you'll remember it forever for the right reasons. His jaw clenched. You're overreacting. I turned, staring him down.
No.
I'm reacting perfectly to discovering that my husband was lining up a reunion with his ex while marrying me. He didn't stop me as I walked out of that room. But I wasn't done yet. Not even close. The next morning, I woke up in Aisha's guest room, surrounded by silence and sunlight. She had made me tea and toast, but I couldn't eat. My stomach was too twisted. Instead, I sat by the window, watching birds flutter past, wondering how many people were already whispering about the bride who left her own wedding night. I still hadn't responded to Ahmed's texts. Please call me. I need to explain. We can work through this. Don't do something you'll regret. Regret? I was already drowning in it. Later that afternoon, I received another message. Not from Ahmed. Unknown number. He's hiding more than just those messages. You should know the truth. My heart raced. I didn't want more drama. I didn't want more pain. But something inside me knew I had to follow the thread, whatever it was. I texted back. Who are you? Unknown. Meet me.
Today.
5 p.m.
Cafe Zenith.
You deserve to know everything. Aisha tried to stop me. It could be dangerous. I have to go, I said. If I don't find out now, I'll never stop wondering. So at 5 p.m., I sat in a quiet corner of Cafe Zenith, my heart thudding with every tick of the clock. Then she walked in, Layla. Of course. She was in a plain black hijab now. No red lipstick. No perfume cloud. Just a calm, almost apologetic look. You texted me? I asked, keeping my voice even. She nodded, sitting across from me. Yes. Why? She exhaled deeply. Because you deserve to know the truth about Ahmed.
And not just about me.
I folded my arms. Then start talking. She didn't waste time. We dated for 2 years. He was charming at first. Supportive. But then he got possessive. Controlling. When I tried to leave, he threatened to tell people things that weren't true. He used guilt like a weapon. My stomach twisted. I didn't want to believe her. But something in her eyes rang true. Pain layered beneath calm. Why'd you come to the wedding? I didn't plan to. He invited me weeks ago.
Told me he missed me.
Said things with you weren't real. That it was arranged, and he felt trapped. I didn't believe him at first. But then he kept messaging me. I thought he was just confused. But then yesterday, after your ceremony, he pulled me aside. Said he wanted to talk later. Alone. I swallowed hard. She continued. I didn't come to break anything up. I just needed closure. But after seeing you, after seeing how radiant you looked, I realized how wrong I was to even show up. I didn't know what to say. My emotions were flooding too fast. Rage, betrayal, sadness, exhaustion. There's something else, she said carefully. I didn't plan to tell you this. But I heard he's been seeing someone else, even during your engagement. That did it. My heart cracked clean in two. Who? I whispered. I don't know her name, but she works in his office. They've been close for months. I stared at her. Why are you telling me all of this? Because I was you once, she said. And no one warned me. I never imagined that the happiest day of my life would begin with a knot of unease in my stomach. As I stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the delicate lace of my wedding dress, a sense of foreboding crept over me. The morning sun filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow on the room, but it did little to dispel the chill that had settled in my bones. My bridesmaids buzzed around me, their laughter and excitement filling the air. Yet, I felt detached, as if I were watching a scene unfold from a distance. My best friend, Aisha, noticed my silence and placed a comforting hand on my shoulder. "Are you okay?" she asked, concern etched on her face. I forced a smile. "Just nerves, I guess." But it was more than that. There was a nagging feeling that something was off, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. I shook my head, trying to dismiss the thoughts. Today was supposed to be perfect. As the ceremony began, I walked down the aisle, my heart pounding in my chest. The guests rose, their faces a blur as my eyes locked onto my soon-to-be husband, Ahmed, standing at the altar. He looked handsome in his tailored suit, a smile playing on his lips. For a moment, the unease melted away. The vows were exchanged, and the ceremony concluded without a hitch. As we made our way to the reception, I tried to focus on the joy of the occasion. The hall was beautifully decorated, the tables adorned with flowers and candles. Guests mingled, laughter and music filling the space. Then I saw her, standing near the bar, a woman with striking features and an air of confidence. She wore a sleek, crimson dress that clung to her figure, her dark hair cascading over her shoulders. Our eyes met, and a chill ran down my spine. I turned to Ahmed, who was engaged in conversation with a group of friends. I leaned in and whispered, "Who is that woman in the red dress?" He glanced over, his expression momentarily faltering before he composed himself. "Oh, that's just an old friend."
Don't worry about it.
But I did worry. There was something in his tone, a flicker of guilt in his eyes that set off alarm bells in my mind. As the evening progressed, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every time I looked around, I caught the woman in red glancing in our direction. Her gaze was intense, almost possessive. During the first dance, Ahmed held me close, whispering sweet nothings in my ear. But my mind was elsewhere, fixated on the mysterious guest. I needed answers. After the dance, I pulled Aisha aside. "Do you know who that woman is?" "The one in the red dress." She followed my gaze and frowned. "I don't recognize her. Maybe she's from Ahmed's side." I nodded, but the unease persisted. Later, as I made my way to the restroom, I overheard a conversation near the hallway. "I can't believe he invited her," a voice said. "I know, right?"
It's so awkward, another replied.
I paused, my heart racing. Were they talking about the woman in red? Determined to get to the bottom of it, I approached Ahmed. "Can we talk privately?" He looked surprised but nodded, leading me to a quiet corner. "Who is that woman in the red dress?" I asked, my voice trembling. He hesitated, then sighed. "She's my ex-girlfriend." I stared at him, disbelief washing over me. "You invited your ex to our wedding?" "Without telling me." "It was a last-minute thing," he said defensively. "We remained friends, and I thought it would be okay." "Friends?" I echoed, my voice rising. "You thought it would be okay to have your ex at our wedding without even mentioning it to me?" He looked away, guilt etched on his face.
"I'm sorry.
I didn't think it would be a big deal." I felt a surge of anger and betrayal. This was supposed to be our day, a celebration of our love. And he had tainted it by bringing someone from his past into our present. I took a deep breath, trying to compose myself. "You made a choice without considering my feelings. That's not okay." He reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "I need some time to think." Silence fell between us. Then she stood. "Do what you need to do. But don't lose yourself in trying to protect someone who never protected you." I sat there long after she left, her words echoing. That evening, I called Ahmed and told him to meet me in a public place, my lawyer's office. Not because I wanted to end things right away, but because I needed answers face to face, without his charm clouding my judgment. When he arrived, he looked tired, but still held that confident smirk I had once loved. "You look beautiful," he said. I didn't respond. We sat across from each other, with my lawyer beside me. I slid the phone toward him. "I know about Layla. And I know about the woman at your office." His eyes flinched, but just for a second. "You're believing gossip now?" "I'm believing patterns. Messages. Words you typed with your own fingers. And don't insult my intelligence by pretending this is all a misunderstanding." He leaned back, suddenly defensive.
So, this is what it is.
You're going to throw away everything we built over a few messages and a bitter ex. I leaned forward, eyes burning. We didn't build anything. I built. I trusted. I sacrificed. You played pretend. His voice rose. You think you're perfect?
No.
But I was honest. He went quiet. Then, for the first time, I saw something crack in him.
Guilt.
Or maybe just the realization that I wasn't backing down. I made mistakes, he said. But I still love you. I stood up. You don't get to say that. Not when you loved me and lied to me in the same breath. He didn't follow me when I left, and that silence was louder than any apology he could have offered. That night, I returned to Aisha's place, but I didn't cry this time. Instead, I stood before the mirror, looking at myself, not the bride, not the heartbroken girl, but the woman who just walked away from the storm and chose herself. My hands were trembling, but my eyes, they were steady. For the first time in what felt like forever, I wasn't asking, why me? I was asking, what now? The next morning, I called my parents. My father answered with hesitation. Baba, I interrupted softly. I'm okay. I'm coming home. He exhaled, and I could hear the unspoken emotion. You've always been our strength. Come home. That's all that matters. When I arrived, my mother held me so tight I could barely breathe. You did the right thing, she whispered. Even if the world doesn't understand, your heart knows. The whispers had already started. Relatives were calling. Curious neighbors were speculating. But I had already made peace with it. Let them talk. Let them create their little stories. I knew the truth, and so did God. In the days that followed, I focused on rebuilding myself. I deleted Ahmed's number. I changed my routine. I went for long walks, read forgotten books, prayed with new intention, and slept without nightmares. It was during one of those peaceful evenings that I received a call from a blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. Later, I listened to it. It was Ahmed. His voice cracked with something I hadn't heard before, humility. I know you won't talk to me. And you probably shouldn't. But I just wanted to say, I was a fool. I didn't know how to handle love when I had it. I kept trying to juggle things that didn't matter. And I lost the one thing that did.
You.
I'm sorry. I deleted it without saving. That chapter was over. A few weeks later, I walked into a women's empowerment workshop in the city. It was Aisha's idea, her quiet way of nudging me back into the world. As I sat in the circle of strangers turned sisters, each woman shared a piece of her journey. Some had fled toxic marriages. Others were navigating grief, self-doubt, or career setbacks. When it was my turn, I hesitated. But then I spoke.
Not with shame.
But with strength. I was left on my wedding night by someone who didn't walk away physically, but emotionally. And instead of pretending everything was okay, I chose myself. Not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. There was silence. Then applause. Then tears, not just mine, but theirs. That night, I received a message on Instagram.
Me? Right?
It felt surreal. But something inside me whispered, say yes. Fast forward 6 months. My first article went viral. Then came the podcast invitations. Then came the event panels. I wasn't just healing. I was helping others heal too. The same girl who once feared what people would say had become a voice they couldn't ignore. And one day, after an interview, a man approached me backstage. Clean cut, quiet smile, honest eyes. I read your piece, he said. And it changed how I think about love, commitment, even honesty. Thank you. I smiled politely. Thank you for saying that. He nodded. If you're ever up for coffee and conversation, not as fans or speakers, just two people talking, I'd love that. For the first time in months, I said yes. And even if nothing came of it romantically, I had already won. Because I had made the hardest decision of my life. And it didn't break me.
It rebuilt me.
I was no longer the girl who waited to be chosen. I was the woman who chose herself. To the woman sitting in her room right now, scrolling through her phone, holding back tears, wondering if she made the wrong decision. This part is for you. Yes, you. The one who gave everything. The one who stayed up at night, imagining how beautiful your wedding day would be, how your husband would look at you with awe, and how your love story would finally have its forever. But instead, you were handed betrayal wrapped in silence. You were made to question your worth in a room filled with love, laughter, and lights, while your heart cracked quietly in the background. I want you to know something. You are not too emotional. You are not dramatic. You are not wrong for asking for loyalty, honesty, and commitment. You were never asking for too much. You were just asking the wrong person. When my husband invited his ex to our wedding behind my back, it was more than disrespect. It was deception. A subtle message that I wasn't enough. That my heart didn't matter. That somehow I was supposed to smile and dance while being quietly replaced in spirit. But here's what I've learned, and I need you to hear this deeply. Enduring emotional betrayal in silence doesn't make you noble. It makes you a prisoner of someone else's confusion. And when you choose to walk away, not with vengeance, but with grace, you don't lose anything. I thought my life ended the day I left him at the altar of our new beginning. I thought people would point fingers, call me impulsive, whisper about how I must have done something wrong. But slowly I began to realize the only voice that truly mattered was mine. And it was done whispering. It began to roar. Not in anger, but in clarity. Clarity that told me, you are allowed to demand love that doesn't come with a side of pain. You are allowed to walk away from someone who cannot cherish you in private and in public. You are allowed to rewrite your ending. You don't owe anyone a perfect version of yourself while they hand you scraps of loyalty. You don't need to compete with someone's past when you are offering them a future. And if a man cannot respect you in your moment of sacred union, the day your souls are supposed to align under God's witness, then what kind of foundation is that? Trust me, God does not bless unions built on lies. But He does bless the woman who has the courage to walk away from one. To the woman who's still struggling to understand. No, you weren't stupid for loving him. You were brave. You believed. And that is beautiful. But believing in someone else should never come at the cost of abandoning yourself. So let me say this one last time. You are the story. You are the rise. You are the moment where the plot twisted, not into tragedy, but into triumph. If you're still stuck, still crying, still wondering if you should have stayed, I want you to look into the mirror right now and tell yourself, I choose me. Say it again. Louder. I choose me. And when people ask what happened, you don't need to explain at all. Just smile and say, I gave him the wedding gift he'll never forget, my absence. And believe me, now go live yours. Not the life they wrote for you, but the one you're about to write for yourself. One page at a time. One breath at a time. One brave decision at a time. You've got this.